What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes show. We said we were going to record after the Pittsburgh series. We did not do that. It just felt wrong, frankly, after 2 games against a team absolutely nobody cares about, then heading into Fenway Park, the series everyone's going to care about to record. Also, the reason is because I was on vacation.
Also, you were on
vacation last week. Quick aside here. You cannot use the word vacation when you are with a 1.5-year-old for a week. That is no vacation. It's not even close to a vacation.
What about just like in general when you're quote vacationing with your family? Does that count as a vacation also?
I think if you're somewhere different, then yes. But if you're just at your house, no. If it's a staycation, then no.
No, but there's definitely a case to be made where you vacation with your family. It's not as much of a vacation. It's a family getaway, but
I miss the old days, man. When I was on quote vacation and we could just find time any time of the day to record. Didn't matter if I was a few beers deep. I would just go out on the porch, pop a few, talk about the games, and then go back to the beach.
And listen to the birds.
Not anymore, my friend.
Listen to the birds.
Not anymore. But yeah, so I don't know about you, but I really do not feel good after that 4-game series against the Red Sox. I know it was a split. I know in the standings it didn't matter. The Red Sox are not going to catch the Yankees if they're just splitting with them. As A.J. Przinsky decided to remind us 74 times on the broadcast on Saturday, the Yankees are going to win the American League East. Frickin' A.J. Przinsky. But, I don't know how you feel good about the stuff that happened in those 4 games.
Well, when you look at where the offense came from and who it came against, that's one thing. So to note, at least, it's not like the Red Sox are at full strength with their pitching, and when you take advantage of the AAA guys that are up there with your lineup, you kind of expect that, right? Like that's kind of what should happen. It's more concerning, I think, is when you look at what the Red Sox offense did to the Yankees pitching staff. And that's not to say, I saw a tweet yesterday, I think it was from a local Boston guy that had circulated a bit, and it said it was along the lines, I think it was 35 innings that the Red Sox played. I'm sorry, 30 of 35 innings or 33 of 35 innings. They were either tied or were trailing in the series. So the majority of the series, it was in the favor of the Yankees. When you look at the first 2 games, you clearly know why. You saw the amount of runs they put up, but they put these numbers up very quickly, and they put them in bunches. And unfortunately, in the last 2 games, they came at very opportune times for winning the game. So the biggest concern for me when I look at this is our pitching staff and how it's going to trend moving forward. And I know that's been something that we've identified to look at, but man, when you look at the rotation and now also into the bullpen minus a few guys, there are certainly question marks. I mean, to a certain extent, you have to, I don't want to say throw away what happened earlier, but at this point you have to make almost a new judgment from the All-Star game on, or from last week on, July on, and identify what we are. And I think it's kind of what we're expecting a little bit, where they're going to have to get a little bit more creative on the pitching side. And Brian Cashman is certainly going to have to make some moves, I think, to solidify what this rotation looks like and what the bullpen looks like.
It's since the first week of June, since the Minnesota Twins series. I keep joking about it since we recorded that episode about the Yankees starting pitching renaissance, but I know we didn't actually jinx anything because jinx is just stupid and we're just 2 moron podcasters that cannot jinx the Yankee starting rotation. But since then, the Yankee starting pitching has been pretty bad. Not even just okay, bad. A lot of them have been just flat out bad. Jameson Taillon, dude, listen to these numbers. Since his start in Minnesota on June 7th, is pitching to a 6.81 ERA, a 5.29 FIP. He's allowed 51 hits in 35 2/3 innings. Opponents are hitting .333 off of him.
That's not good. It's not a good stat line.
Not good.
Well, that's convenient batting average stat. But yes, I love the convenient batting average stat. I'm a big fan of the
whatever metric you want to use, OPS plus.
No,
you cannot spin these numbers to any way to make Jameson Taillon's last How many starts is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starts are garbage. Last 7 starts are garbage. That's not a small sample.
You know, when Ilya and I were looking at the GM plan for the midseason, this is one of the things that we were looking at. Jameson Taillon going into a contract year, understand that he's struggling. I do believe that Brian Cashman is going to look across this market to shore up that position, not only for right now, but for next year, because I don't see them re-signing him. So when you're looking at the moves that they're going to be made, like, you have to look at who's going to be a free agent and who is mightily struggling right now. And you're right. He's one of those guys. He's giving up the home run ball like crazy. You know, he has idolized Garrett Cole. You know, there was that idolized is maybe a strong word, but they were friends. And I remember when he signed, they had that, tweet when they first went out where they were all fired up. But he's very similar in the fact that he just doesn't have he gives up the home run ball, but doesn't have the dominant stuff. But that ball flies out, man. It flies out. And last night was just a backbreaker when he's giving up those last home runs.
So yeah, last night he was left in the game to blow 2 different leads. He allowed 3 home runs.
Also
6
interesting.
runs. I got, if this was rewind a month, right? You let your starters battle through things because the pitching had been so good in the first 2 months of the season that you can allow them some leeway. But when Jameson Taillon, since for a month plus, has been one of the worst pitchers in baseball, you don't give him leeway. You don't.
Also, All-Star break coming up. Day off today, as we're recording this. There was no reason to leave him in that game. Like, no reason.
No. And so then they found themselves in a situation where it's now a tie game after your offense did score runs, and you've got to bring in Chapman in a 6-6 game in the 6th inning. And it's like people I saw crushing Boone being like, I thought you're only going to use Chapman in low leverage spots. Like, well, what choice do you have at this point? You avoided him like the plague on Saturday in a close game, and that backfired. You tried to get through the end innings with only King and Holmes, and that didn't work out. Just goes to show you that you can't just get through your bullpen isn't so great with just 2 guys when your starting pitching isn't pitching into the 7th inning every night. But so you have to bring in Chapman, and it's not even like Chapman was terrible. He was wild, obviously. But the 2 bloops, it was just a complete cluster. It was a complete cluster of a middle of the game that was completely botched and just went down the toilet so fast. The Red Sox took a massive lead, and that was it. I know it was a series split. It did not feel like a series split. And I'm not even caring about the standings. It's a 14-game lead. It's more about the things that happened and the way that the Yankees played and the way that they lost the last 2 games that is really bothersome.
An interesting thing for this season with the way that the wild card, now that there's essentially the entire American League East is going to be in the playoffs. The emphasis on winning the AL East is still there. Like, definitely still there, and clearly the run differential or the standings differential is massive. But at some point, we're going to be looking at this, and it's not going to matter as much because
But like you can't just say that. You can't just watch them play crappy and be like, well, it doesn't matter. Standings are what they are. It's like, no, you want to see the team continue to play well.
No, you're missing my point. You're talking too fast before I even get to it. It takes me a long time to get to points sometimes. Let me get around it. The thing is that when that the difference in the standings is there, it actually doesn't matter as much at the end of the season because there are so many teams that are just lining up to stay alive and be in the postseason. If the Red Sox are 15 games back and they get in a wild card spot, and all of a sudden you're playing them, but they have a healthy Eovaldi, a healthy Chris Sale, none of that matters. You're just playing for the tournament at that point.
Well,
so
no, you want to win.
You want to
win the division so you can potentially get best record. I mean, so you're kind of fighting Houston
right.
for best record right now.
And it's close. It's closer than it's like 4 games
Houston's
or 4.5
another
games,
team
right?
You've struggled against this year.
But also can't look at that right now in July because that's certainly going to change.
Well, you've got a doubleheader with
my
Houston
point is
coming
that
up in a week and a half, and that's your last chance to play.
It's just not the same advantage. It's just not the same advantage when them going out and having this all-time first half and solidifying that at that AL East. When these teams are getting better and healthy and looming and are just preparing for the tournament. That's exactly what they're doing. They're just preparing for the tournament. And that is a scary proposition when you start thinking about what the end of the year can be. with these teams literally just playing and gearing up towards these, these 3 spots that are readily available.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, so what in the rotation? You mentioned this, like you and Ilya looked at it because you identified that. Obviously, I mean, Logan and I did that too. We both acquired starting pitchers that would be there next year, right? Love or hate our moves. In the GM episode, by the way, go listen to it. It's the last episode out. Who's your biggest concern right now in the rotation?
It's got to be Taillon. I think that the way that he's giving up the home runs is not good because he's not fooling anybody. You mentioned the batting average. To me, that speaks volumes.
51 hits in 35 innings. That's obscene.
He's not fooling anybody. People are getting very good bat to ball on his stuff. He's not getting a ton of swings and misses. And when you're, in the middle of the season like that, he went through a stretch like this last year where he was not good, and then he did turn it around and he was very good towards in the second half. So he's definitely shown that he can do that in the past. Flip a switch and get back to it. So I don't know if it's just like a meddling middle part of the year where you're just getting fatigued and you can build up for that second half run. I don't know, but it's certainly a concern because the home run ball takes you out of a game very fast.
Or even if you're leading, it gets the other team back in the game really fast. What about Nestor Cortez? I mean, he was named an all-star, which I do think is very well deserved. But since June 8th, 6 total starts, he's pitched into a 5.34 ERA and a 6.03 FIP. He's allowed about a hidden inning, 32 hits in 28 2/3 innings. So he's another one. Taillon and Cortez were such solidifying forces in the back of that rotation. I mean, arguably those 2 guys were the best 2 pitchers on the staff in the month of May. And they've been the worst 2 pitchers on the staff in the month of June. And Cole has been okay in this stretch. I mean, terrible against Boston yet again. I'm going to talk about him.
Devers.
Fine, terrible against Devers. Well, guess what? Rafael Devers is the Red Sox best player. So he's good. I know he's out with a back injury, but as long as he's in the lineup,
he was carrying his team against Garrett Cole, and you get tired.
As long as he's in the lineup, Garrett Cole, when he's facing the Red Sox, is going to be facing Rafael Devers, and if there's runners on base, we got problems.
You got to go in with a different mindset at that point. I mean, this guy owns everything about you. He's been dominant against you. You can't just act like he's a regular guy and just act like you're going to beat him. You can't be so arrogant in the sense that you're going to your stuff is going to be better on that given moment. It's proven that it's not. It's proven that Rafael Devers sees something.
8 for 25 with 6 homers off of Cole.
I don't know if you caught any of last night's broadcast with the K-Rod, but
I couldn't. I was gonna when you said Clemens is interesting to talk to. You posted that in our chat.
It was towards the end.
I picked up the remote and I was gonna press over and like my thumb would not move. It was just frozen in time. I couldn't do it.
Well, I thought that Roger Clemens was by far the most entertaining person.
Love Roger.
Yeah, I mean he's very very detailed in the way that he talks. He's been going into a lot more of the detail that he has seen you could tell he's not following the game as much. He's definitely, following his kids, following Texas, and following like the things that he's been focusing on, and not so much the rest of the league. But man, the detail and the things that he would recall about how a guy could tip a pitch like super easily, how they're looking for certain things, how he would go about each and every, the fact that he called his pitches from the mound with a variation of little ticks and head nods and way that he fans his glove. It's pretty fascinating, and he's still as intense as ever. There's no doubt he's as intense as ever. And I think that you put him in a room with A-Rod and he's going to kick A-Rod's ass, just like if he looks at him the wrong way. A-Rod was definitely trying to keep up with the amount of baseball acumen that Roger Clemens was spitting on that broadcast, and it wasn't really happening.
And A-Rod
well. Roger Clemens was pretty interesting.
A-Rod is praised for having very high baseball acumen.
I know, and I don't see it as an analyst, to be honest. But Yeah, so that was a good part. I don't remember why I said that, but it was very interesting watching.
You asked
him,
me if I was watching that. Did he reference something?
Oh,
about
no.
Cole?
The reason I was saying that is because of Devers and Tyone. It's very possible that Devers sees something different with Tyone. But whether he's seeing the ball better, whether he's identifying something, but there are just so many. I think it just brought this back up to the forefront of how prevalent it is when you have a dugout and a guy, and Alex Cora is one of these guys who are so detailed and can pick up and be perceptive on so many different little things. And if you have a student of the game who is a batter and really does the work in putting in the tape, really does the work in studying the guys, they can pick up things very quickly. They are insanely smart and insanely perceptive when they're facing a pitcher. So it's very possible that Devers sees something there and he's able to pick up something on Cole. But for whatever reason, he dominates and he sees the ball extremely well against that man. And a lot of people don't.
I guess if you're looking for some conspiracy theory, I mean, both of the home runs off of Cole on Thursday were on off-speed pitches. Definitely not what you'd think Cole is. You would think he would maybe fool hitters with off-speed pitches. They wouldn't be sitting on off-speed pitches because his fastball is so good. But both of those came on off-speed pitches.
And I'm not insinuating any conspiracy theories.
Sounds like you are.
No, I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm more talking about a very perceptive baseball player who can pick up on little. I mean, when Clemens was talking about this, he was talking about like the changeup, just the hand going into the glove slightly different, like little tiny things that can be picked up on, and that is something that you either see it in the moment and you're able to react in a very quick moment, or maybe it's something in the delivery where it's seen and you can and he can just react quicker. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just talking. I don't know if that's actually the case, but clearly there's something different about Rafael Devers and Garrett Cole and why that matchup is so one-sided. He's a damn good player and he's got an advantage in some capacity. So, I mean, tip of the cap to him, but there's something to that matchup that's interesting because Cole has no chance, it seems like, when Devers is in the box.
After the game, he said, "I'm open to suggestions on getting Rafael Devers out." Cole was like, so I didn't hear the post-game press conference. I only read the quotes. So I don't know. I don't know, Logan or Scott, if either of you listened to if he spoke. Was he like kind of brushing it off, joking, or was he seriously like, I don't know how this guy is just crushing me?
I think he's at a loss. When you look at his on field reaction, it's like
the second one he was kind of in disbelief. The second one he was like, "What?
I can't believe that this guy is doing this." It's like Garrett Cole can't get to a point where like he can understand that someone can hit him that well, and he's not able to like process why that's happening, and that's annoying to me.
Kind of had the same
honestly.
Reaction when Vlad Jr. took him deep earlier in the season.
Like, oh, I can't do anything better than do what I just did, and this guy beat me.
It's like,
I can't do anything.
These
better.
are the best hitters on the planet. Like these guys. It's not like the number 9 hitter is taking you deep. Oh no, you just decided to walk the number 9 hitter. I had 2 batters ahead of Devers, but like this is Vlad Jr. With Toronto and Rafael Devers. Like these are the elite of the elite hitters that are taking you deep. On the ones I remember that Vlad hit, like one of those was like a fastball off the fist, basically, and he somehow got the barrel to it. So it's like, I think my take at that time was like, I guess you got to tip your cap to guys sometimes. But when Rafael Devers has 6 homers off of you, I'm done tipping my cap. Figure it out, dude. Do something different.
Yeah. Or acknowledge that this guy can hit you for whatever reason, if you don't know why, and pitch around him. Pitch around him. That's okay too. You can do that.
Yeah.
You can pick one spot. Clemens was also talking about last night where how would he face Judge and how would he face Stanton? They were talking about like the approach there. So good questions, and I appreciate the questions.
I didn't hear it. Can I guess what he said?
Go with Stanton first.
Well, I was going to say both of them. He would start with fastballs like at the neck. Okay, like you are getting brushed back immediately. If this is 2022, maybe it's different, but Roger Clemens doesn't give a fuck. He's still going to brush you back. If this was 1998 Roger Clemens, 1999 Roger Clemens, you're getting a fastball in the neck. Okay? That is how he started.
He definitely did say, he said he would establish the inside of the plate. So,
Yup.
yes, he's going to establish the inside of the plate. But, I mean, just listening to him and the way that he was talking about Stanton and his close stance, and Clemens had what he called a tight slider. Some people called it a cutter. He said it was just a tight slider, and he would start that pitch in on the body of Stanton to hit black, and or if you're starting at him and going outside the zone, but you're playing with fire, because if you leave it over the plate, it's going to hit the barrel, and you have a problem with that. Judge talking about, the point is that he's talking about one approach and like an area to exploit on a particular matchup. Whether you're playing at Yankee Stadium or Fenway, it does change because of the ballpark. But I don't know what Garrett Cole. I would love to know what Garrett Cole his approach is to Rafael Devers, because if he's not going after one exploitation and then allowing the fact that if he doesn't win in that one area that he believes he can win in, and then if he loses him for a walk and he's on base, fine. But you got to win in the place that you need to, that you feel the most confident in. And I don't know what his approach is. It doesn't seem like it's that, or he's just making mistakes and trying to be too fine, and he's just leaving the ball out and over. But yeah, that part of Clemens, like, he just really attacks one spot and one approach on a guy, and make sure on a given, especially with one of the upper echelon guys, just trying to really exploit those little holes.
I know it's tough to say pitch around Devers, especially in the second at bat when runners are on base. But when the rest of the lineup is basically doing nothing off of you, and Cole, when he's facing the other 8 hitters in the lineup, when he makes his pitches, they have no chance. You just got to pitch around him. The intentional walk is okay when you're going to probably get the next guy out. It's okay. Sometimes a guy will come up and it's like, well, I can't pitch around him because everyone's hitting me this game, so I'm not going to load the bases or something like that. But when that's the only guy in the lineup killing you consistently time after time against the Red Sox, just don't let him beat you. Don't even give him the chance. It's okay. Go to the next guy, get him out, preserve the 3-run lead at that time, or the 4-run lead at that time, and move on. If it's pride, like, I don't know what's going on here, but these numbers are so gaudy that you have to just say, okay, I can't get him out. Maybe there's a time in the future where I absolutely have to pitch to him, but right now I don't absolutely have to pitch to him, so I'm not going to.
And a guy like Garrett Cole should be able to pick his battles and have the confidence to go into another guy that he can take care of, because he's a much better player and he can execute against said player, even if there's runners on base. You got Rafael Devers up with nobody on base, attack him. Great. That's the place where you attack him, because if it's a solo shot, fine, nothing hurt, all good. But you got runners on base and Rafael Devers, who's just been absolutely dominant. You got to be more careful. And I'm not even saying be careful with your pitch selection in there. Just be careful in the sense that, like, you go after one thing, and if you don't get what you want, then you have to be okay with letting him go. You have to be okay with letting him go and just attacking the next guy. And like you said, that's at that point you're looking at run prevention, which is the name of the game for the Yankees this year. You got to prevent those runs from getting across, because your offense will do it, and for the most part, your defense will play well. So prevent those runs, especially against a guy that has proven that he will hurt you.
What's up, Logan?
I do remember Cole saying, I can't find it, I was just looking for it. Cole saying after the game that on the second home run, he did try and pitch around him, and if you did look at the pitch, it was a changeup below the zone that he clipped. I mean, if you're gonna try not to pitch to him, you better not pitch to him. Don't make it close. You know what I mean? Like, but he did say there was kind of some intent there, I believe, to not pitch to him.
Well,
I mean, commit. How about we commit to that, though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's fast.
Even that answer sounds like, I tried to not pitch to him, but I didn't do a good enough job in doing that. No. This guy has murdered you. Like, don't pitch to him then. If you can't do it, then walk him.
If you were trying to pitch around him and a changeup got hit out of the park, that's not a very good job of trying to pitch around him.
You failed to execute that approach. Yeah.
Cole's and just one more quick thing on the outing. It's like the Yankees got him a big lead and he made it interesting. I know he still pitched 6 innings, but they had to rely on their big arms to get through the end of that game, because you're thinking, okay, you've got a big lead with Cole on the mound in the first game of a 4-game series at Fenway Park. You're looking for him to go 6 or 7, 2 runs or less, and you don't even have to worry about the thing. But no, it had to become a nail biter. Garrett Cole versus the Red Sox, since he's become a Yankee, has a 6.73 ERA overall. By my calculations here, he's only had 2 good starts in 8 total. His first start ever in 2020, July 14th, 2020, was 7 innings, 1 earned run. Fantastic. The only other good start that I could even find in here was last September 24th, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Rafael Devers hit a 3-run home run in that game. It was when the game was already out of hand, though. But so, fine. Still, 6 innings, 3 runs. I'll give it to you. But the rest of them, 5 innings, 5 runs. 5 innings, 3 runs. 5 1/3, 7 runs. 2 innings, 3 runs. That was the wild card game. Opening day this year, 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, Billy Crystal. This past game, 6 innings, 5 runs.
The Billy Crystal game.
The Billy Crystal game, the wild card game, the like, what is it, Cole? You've got a 6.73 ERA against the Red Sox. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, no, he needs to figure that one out. He needs to figure that one out, because they're not going away, and they're definitely going to improve as this season continues here. They're getting back Sale, who was a lunatic. I don't know if you saw the rampage that he did when he was down in his last start.
Did you see what he said about it? Who is he?
Yeah, he's like, I thought I was in a safe place.
Well, he's famously like freaked out. Like, remember he took scissors?
Yeah, he cut the jersey.
He took scissors to the
jersey.
White Sox throwback unis.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, dude, chill.
Yeah, he's a lunatic. I'm looking at that like whatever it was on the wall he's ripping down.
It's a TV.
Maybe they. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It looked like an art.
He
piece
joked
of art
about it
or
on the
like a painting or
broadcast. He
something.
was like, I forget the brand. It was Samsung or something. He's like, I thought Samsung was gonna like it. I was giving it some extra promotion.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a good response to it.
Yeah,
Who filmed it, by the way?
There was a camera going that was down in there, so they probably saw commotion and they went into you can see enough
You're
in
like
there.
A minor leaguer.
You can see enough in that.
You're a
it's
minor
great camera
leaguer
shot.
for the Red Sox. Chris Sale is there rehabbing, and he's just freaking out on stuff, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? This guy is insane.
Yeah, it doesn't make me feel good about him coming back, to be honest,
No.
and throwing. Like, I don't want to go against a guy that's completely clinically insane like that. That's not great when you're thinking about an opponent who's got as much talent as he does. If his velocity and his confidence is back with his body feeling good, that's not great. He's a very, very good pitcher. And again, I go back to my wild card point here. It's as the season goes on and they have a healthy Chris Sale, all of this is not going to matter. It's not going to matter in the way that the playoffs are positioned now. And I don't like that. It's de-emphasizing.
If Evaldi and Chris Sale are pitching to their capabilities, especially in big spots, like, don't care. Like you said, don't care if you finish 14 games ahead of them.
Exactly. It de-emphasizes the regular season and the special things that the Yankees teams have been doing. When you see that 3 other teams in the AL East have a very good shot of making the playoffs. It's crazy.
And the freaking Orioles are almost 500.
500.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's it's an unbelievably competitive division. Yeah, and so I guess like no one's going 18-2 against the Orioles anymore. So that ship
but
has
at the same time, like, Yankees have a 14 game lead in the division. But when you have 4 other teams that are playing really well in the second half, like, that could go away pretty quick.
Yep. Yeah,
it could get smaller.
Someone
pretty quick.
could just race up and catch you.
Or multiple teams could just play well against you while they're playing shitty teams, and because the schedule has flipped.
Well, the Red Sox right now are in a stretch where they're only playing AL East teams after basically not playing any AL East teams. Like, their schedule has been super weird as well. I was unfortunately not in Yes Network territory for the first 3 games. Well, Saturday was a Fox game, but Thursday, Friday, I was in Rhode Island, so it was Nesson territory. So I was watching the Nesson broadcast, so I did not hear this. Did either of you hear David Cohn defending Garrett Cole after the 2 home runs to Devers?
No, I did not hear it. I was not listening to that broadcast myself. So no, I did not
I
hear
only
it.
saw this on Twitter. People being like, "Why is David Cohn defending Garrett Cole specifically after the second Devers homer?" I guess he was defending him in some. I didn't hear it. I only saw it, so I don't know exactly what he said. But I don't know what defense. I don't know what whatever defense. Okay, let me make a straw man argument here. How do you defend Garrett Cole after the second home run to Devers? Like, I don't know what David Cohn could have possibly said to piss people off.
Logan.
I have exactly what he said right here. So
Perfect.
before Devers' first home run, he said, "I don't think he was totally healthy last year in the postseason as well. His hamstring was bothering him more than he let on, and I appreciate that. He was a gamer." Then he touches on how he's basically, like, I heard this part, for like the Yankees are getting their money's worth. He's the most durable, best starting pitcher in baseball when you break down durability, because who's better?
So he's talking about him overall, not against Devers specifically in those at-bats?
So here's his quote. "If you look around the league at the premier starting pitchers, everybody looks at DeGrom or Scherzer. You can throw out any name you want. Kershaw, the most durable starting pitcher in his prime right now, is Garrett Cole, and it's not even close. He's worth every penny of that contract so far in his tenure as a Yankee. You want to nitpick and say, well, you need to pitch better at Fenway, or you need to pitch better in the postseason. Well, those opportunities are going to come. Who would you rather have right now in his prime, that every 5 days he's going to take the ball? You're not worried about injuries. You're not worried about pitch counts." Then Devers homers. This is after the second homer. He says, "A changeup well executed down and away, and Devers just lays Devers just lays on. Maybe a little too much of the plate, but it was down. Sometimes as a pitcher, when you're having a hard time getting a hitter out, as with Garrett Cole and Rafael Devers, you get into search mode as a pitcher. You're not really sure how you're going to go about it."
Well, that's a problem to me. You don't know how you're going to go about it, and that goes back to my point with a guy like Roger Clemens, who was just asserted his dominance in a particular moment. He understood where I think his limitations were, and how he could attack a person, and obviously there are so many moments in different careers that I'm sure that went away, but I don't love hearing that. I want him to have a game plan walking into Rafael Devers in different situations.
Yeah,
I certainly do.
Yeah, and it seems like at the very end of it, he basically just said, it's almost like he got tentative and defensive a little bit. "I understand it. I did it myself. You're trying to find a way to get this guy out." So I assume that's kind of his defending him.
Well, as much as I love David Cohn, as much as most people do love David Cohn, I mean, he's definitely a player's guy. He will go to the defense of the players. He was a player. He was in high leverage moments. He understands situations. So he will, for the most part, as much as he possibly can, while being critical. So he certainly has his moments where he will criticize, but he will show some empathy to a moment because he's been there and in that situation. Yep. And I think that's exactly what that is. So no, I don't like that answer. I don't like that answer one bit. I read between too long. Didn't read. Garrett Cole didn't execute a changeup and left it over the plate. It was too much of the plate, and Rafael Devers made him pay for it. That's what I heard.
And to his comment about who would you rather have, most durable starting pitcher in the game right now, he's worth every penny of that contract. If he does not pitch well in the playoffs and does not continue to pitch well against top AL East opponents, which he has not done in his 3 years with the Yankees so far, that is not worth every penny because that's not what you're paying him for. Durability, great. Okay. Overall numbers, pretty damn good. But if you get knocked around by the Red Sox consistently and the Rays and the Blue Jays, and you have not stepped up in massive playoff situations, that's not what the Yankees gave you $326 million for.
That's not what any team gives a player that much money for. When a team is giving that much money to a player, especially primarily on a contending roster, you gotta come up when the lights are the brightest, when the moments are the toughest. You have higher expectations. It's not just the regular season numbers. This is similar to how I felt with Alex Rodriguez. Yes, you put up gaudy numbers all the time. But in a moment when you are absolutely needed, are you coming through? Are you the guy that we need? And it's baseball. I get it. Like, you strike out, you get out 2 of 3 times and you're a Hall of Famer. So it's all relative. But when you look at a sample size, it cannot be so far away. Andrew, you've talked about this so many times about one of the most impressive stats and things about Derek Jeter in his career was that his postseason numbers practically mirrored his regular season numbers. This is a guy that it did not matter when he was up, what the approach was, what was going on. He had the same mentality. He was ice. And you look at the large sample size, and because he's got a massive sample size in the postseason, and they're relatively similar. So it's I need you to execute in those big moments. Yeah, I just do.
Yeah. It's exactly right. Now, obviously, Colton's right. It's going to have many more opportunities to pitch against the Red Sox, many more opportunities to pitch in the playoffs. He's going to be pitching in the playoffs this year. Whoever the Yankees play in the first round of the playoffs this year, Cole will be starting game 1. And if he doesn't pitch well, he should be crushed for it. It's like, that's the bottom line.
He's right. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. This is the year where when you are in the postseason with this year, with the way that this team is rolling, you got to be the guy that they're depending on. You got to be a rock at the front end of that rotation starting off of a series. No matter when it is, no matter where it is, you got to be that rock. That's what you're paid for. That is what you're paid for. All this other shit is preparation for that moment. It's all preparation. Now there's 19 wild card spots. So who gives a fuck what you do in the regular season?
Oh, man. So, a couple of other things that we should talk about from the series. Let's start with Donaldson, who is hitting. His WRC plus is now up to 108. He had been in a horrendous slump pretty much since like the middle of May. But the last week, he's obviously hit a bunch of home runs. That double play, though, bobble in the 10th inning on Saturday, could have potentially cost him the game. So it would have been bang bang. I don't think
they get
Bogarts. I don't think he gets Bogarts on that.
I didn't think watching it in real time that they were going to get him. And if they did, it was going to be bang bang. Correct. But it doesn't matter because the bobble happened and now we'll never know. So as a fan, we're not the score guy. We're not the guy who's scoring a particular play. We assume the double play every time, of course, because that's what should happen. But that was going to be a tough play. The one that I'm having, and I'm really growing frustrated. We're going to talk about Donaldson, so I don't want to get too off. But the IKF man not being able to make throws on routine balls is starting to drive me insane.
And once again, there's like a play deep in the shortstop hole on Saturday. He makes a freaking unbelievable play, throws from his knees, like in mid-slide, throws it, and he gets him out. And then it's a freaking four-hopper to shortstop, and he can't throw the ball. What is going on?
It's like that third base mentality. Like your reaction are there, and you get up and throw the ball over because you're not thinking. It just happens, and then he gets a little bit of a moment to pad. He does a little double pump, does a little double clutch, a little Andujar over there, and then he bounces the damn ball. Like it's unacceptable. He needs to clean that shit up, and he needs to do it fast. Can't happen that way.
He's made really, really great plays the past like 5-6 days. He made a diving play also in the hole. It's like really elite level.
That diving play in the hole was
fantastic.
Insane.
Elite level defensive plays. And then little league level botched plays.
Yeah. No. And I don't know. I don't have a number on how many. I don't even know if we have a number that can say this. How many throws Rizzo has saved, but he normally comes up with a bounce like that, with a hop like that at first. Didn't do it, but the guy's a vacuum at first base too. So I'm sure there's a whole lot of those that have not gone down in the error books. He's got to clean it up though. These are not hard. These are routine, highly executable plays, like 10 out of 10 executable plays.
One bounce throw on a four-hopper to shortstop erases any diving play that you're going to make. Like, that's just the reality of it.
Especially in an inning that becomes a catalyst to a horrible inning that changed the game. Because that's exactly what happened. And you have something like that. You have a play like that with a guy that's trying to get out of trying to get outs, trying to get some momentum going on the pitching mound. That's deflating. For anybody, that is deflating when you see that, and now there's a runner on base and you got to pitch from the stretch.
Yeah, and Rizzo. Speaking of your guy Rizzo, he was back in the lineup after missing a few days with back stiffness. Thrown out, trying to steal third in the 10th.
Yeah, after a huge hit.
You cool with that? It's cool with him getting thrown out there?
Yes, I am. Again, because
okay.
I'm not cool in that moment for what it is. But again, these are gonna happen with the aggressive style of their play.
Yeah, that's my point. Okay. My point is,
what's your point?
My point is he's going to get thrown out stealing third in a big spot where you could have used an extra run, and it's freaking annoying. Okay,
he was trying to get to third base.
I know he was trying to get to third base with one out. So in the grand scheme of things, that's not a stupid baseball play. But you know what? You also just missed 4 games with back stiffness.
That's where I question it.
Maybe you're not the fleetest of foot right now.
Yeah, that's
park your ass on second base, and maybe the guy will get a base hit.
I do his normal baseball instincts got a little too big for his britches. You know, eyes too big for your bigger than your stomach situation right there. And he was definitely running in quicksand for the first 3 steps.
Can I confess something to you?
Go ahead.
I feel like myself again. I feel like
because you're complaining and things are going bad.
Complaining about this team. I'm nitpicking. It's just
This is not a new nitpick. This has been pissing you off for the whole time he does it.
This is kind of fun.
Part of the reason why I like that he does it and succeeds is because it really makes you mad to an extent, even when it goes well. And I know that, and that makes me happy. That makes me happy.
Yeah, we're at the point now where we just want to be right about things and then have the other person be wrong.
I don't even need to be right. I just know that it drives you insane, and you're probably getting a text from your dad. So I envision that in my head.
Oh,
and then
I got some text
then I'm
from
like,
my dad,
but it
maybe.
worked. But it worked. So you can't really say shit about it.
Thank you for reminding me. So I was with my dad for the first couple games of the series. Thursday, after Cole gave up the second home run to Devers, and I quote, this is a direct quote from my dad. Why doesn't Cole do the team a favor and just blow out his arm already? That was a direct quote from my dad. Then
that's a lot. That's a lot.
This morning,
that's an aggressive line.
This morning, 5:35 a.m. text. I'm not fooled by this team's record. A split against Red Sox AAA says it all. Meaning squat to beat up on teams like the Tigers. One word: fraud in all capital letters. My dad's back. I'm back. The Yankees are struggling. I feel alive again.
Oh, well, you know. Look, when you look at the record and you look at what the team, there's definitely a reckoning coming with this pitching staff. It's clear as day. It's already happening, obviously. But
pitching to like a 4.50 ERA for a month and a half.
I think Brian Cashman's job at this deadline is getting more important and more
screw left fielder,
screw
screw outfield help. You got Matt Carpenter playing the outfield now, and all the dude does is hit home runs. Fine, you can get away with Matt Carpenter in left field. Joey Gallo can be a backup outfielder.
No. Let's stay with that one for a second because that's an interesting thing. Yes, Matt Carpenter, revelation. The man has figured it out. It's
2015 all over again.
He's stealing bases. He's bunting with the shift, acting like that's what I meant. He didn't steal bases, but he's chugging along down the line, creating just forced plays that people don't expect, and they screw it up. Whatever that man is doing, and whatever he has figured out, I love it. He's powered by the mustache. But he looks great. So yes, when you look in this moment and you look at how he's done so far, definitely de-emphasizes the need for another outfielder if he's able to be out there. That said, still got a guy on the team who's a complete lost cause, who's a complete hole in every single situation you could possibly be in. So why not shore it up?
No, I know.
And I don't give a shit.
But it's no longer the number one need.
No, there's agreed, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. When I'm looking at the trade deadline, and people were on social media were hating on the fact that we were giving up so many prospects.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't give a shit. These prospects, guys, let's look around. These prospects are not going to do anything. They're not going to be here. They're just not. So
they're not going to win.
People,
they're not going to help win the Yankees a World Series in the next 2 seasons, which is really all this team should care.
You can make the argument that Peraza could. Maybe he's a guy that you could argue could win that spot.
Can he field 4 hoppers to shortstop?
Probably. I don't know if he's making that play in the hole, but he could probably make the easy play, as most could. But I am not. The Yankees should not be prospect hungry. They have enough depth where they can give out a lot of guys and still have good value to it. But you got to win right now, and that means over solidify. And I think that's what Cashman needs to do. He needs to make damn sure that he is plugging any holes or holes that can be in a month, 2 months.
You're going to need definitely a legit, legit, take that word for a starting pitcher that you can rely upon. You're going to need that, and you're going to need a couple bullpen arms. Definitely. And then maybe you go out and get a left fielder, Andrew Benintendi. I would love Benintendi. But right now, outfield is not like a glaring need for this team, especially with the way Judge and Stanton are playing. They're both starting in the All-Star game. And then you've got between Hicks, Carpenter, and Gallo for basically one spot. Like, fine. You can live. But this starting pitching is not going to survive the next month.
They definitely need, and I hope that Nestor Cortez doesn't get a lot of time, or maybe not even get into the All-Star game because
you don't want him to pitch. You're afraid.
He needs a break. I mean, me as a Yankees fan, as a Nestor Cortez fan, I want him to get in the game, no doubt about it. I want him to have the moment, but I also want him to rest his arm. I want him to try to use this week this next week as a refresh, just to let's get as strong as we possibly can.
When's his next start?
Good sleep. Get as much as you can.
He pitched.
That's what I want from him.
When did Cortez pitch? On Friday. So his next start is going to come against the Reds, right, Logan? Is it going to come in the third game against the Reds? So he's going to be lined up to pitch in that All-Star
on Tuesday.
Game. Yeah, that's definitely. He's like, because the way that they manage the All-Star pitching is like whatever pitchers are there are basically need an inning of work because this is their throw day or whatever. That's how the pitching has worked. Because if you pitch on Saturday or Sunday, you're not going to pitch on Tuesday in the All-Star.
That's fine. Easy to get in the All-Star game. Use it as a throw day, as essentially a bullpen day.
Everyone pitches one inning.
That's fine. Okay, you can have that.
Do you remember when Phil Hughes got in the All-Star game? I think it was 2010, and he blew the game. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen with Nestor Cortez.
Nestor doesn't need that. Don't give him that bad juju. I hope he has an enjoyable time.
The last thing I want to mention from the Red Sox series is that how much did it sting to watch Rob Refsnyder just blast balls over the monster in a Red Sox uniform?
You know, you tweeted that like it would hurt me, but
that was your boy.
I'm going to be very honest.
You liked it?
I'm going to be very honest. I'm happy for him.
Okay.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him because he has been dubbed as a 4A guy for a long time. And you got to give this man credit. He has busted his ass to stay in the big leagues, to stay around, to be this guy. He's having a hell of a year. And if he ends up hurting the Yankees at some point in a larger capacity towards the end of the season, I'm going to be angry at everybody else but Rob Refsnyder. I'm going to be angry at everybody else but Rob Refsnyder because Rob Refsnyder deserves every second of what he's doing. Guys put together a good year. I just wish it were not for the team that he's playing for currently. Why can't he do it in Oakland?
I can't remember if this was on the Nesson broadcast or the Fox broadcast, but they were talking about how the Yankees converted Refsnyder from the outfield to the infield. And Rob Refsnyder said, quote, "I stunk in the infield and I didn't feel comfortable. I'm more comfortable in the outfield."
It's true. Do you remember that? What was it? Was it opening day? Was it opening day where they put him at third base? Or it was a big series, I remember, and he just got eaten up. Maybe it was when he first came up. Something like that.
He was at second base when he.
I know, but he was at third base for. I remember a specific start. I got to look up exactly what it was, but he got eaten up, and it was he just wasn't comfortable there. I think that became pretty clear. He didn't have the footwork to be an infielder. So yeah, he's in the outfielder, and that helps your offense too, because he's always been able to hit. That's always been his. He's always been able to hit in AAA, for sure.
Anything else you want to mention from the last week of games? I mean, obviously we didn't really talk about Pittsburgh series. Tyon, terrible against the Pirates. Yeah, against his old team, Yankees scored
the amount of the second game onslaught
blowout
was fun. It was fun to watch. It was just like let's just continue to pour on. Yeah, it was a stat booster of a game. There's no doubt. I'd like to quickly talk about the umpires because they're becoming glaringly a problem against our taller players, in which we have many of. And when you look at that at-bat from Stanton last night, the man stole the at-bat from him, and it was a disgrace.
This is what I don't understand about that at-bat. He missed 3 pitches, all in different areas of the strike zone. He missed up and in, down and in, and low. How do you suck in 3 quadrants of the strike zone?
Yeah, it's difficult to do that. So Aaron Boone getting tossed again for
Same
similar...
shit, different day. I mean, fine. I'm not bashing Boone.
It's
I'm
the
not
same
bashing
thing.
Boone here. Like, what else is he to do? Oh, another egregious call on Judge. Another egregious call on Stanton. I guess I'm going to go out there and yell at the umpire and get tossed, and nothing is going to change. Nothing has changed. He's been thrown out like 7 times arguing balls and strikes, specifically on Aaron Judge. I saw something. He was wearing a freaking T-shirt that said Aaron Judge is 6'7", like mocking. It's probably like I don't even know what freaking T-shirt it was. But it's just like nothing is changing here. So fine, yeah, Boone, go out, get tossed again, throw your bubble gum again. You're gonna do it again the next night because the same thing is gonna happen.
Well, he should continue to do it because it's you got to make a point of this. Like there's got to be some kind of ramifications and a change. Like these guys got to understand that when he's coming out there, the frustration level is just
what I think needs to happen.
Up.
It needs to be Judge.
Judge needs to,
Yes.
and he started to in that last series.
He did, and Boone came out and he saved him from getting tossed in the game. And I don't want Judge getting tossed in a Red Sox game. But the next time, if it's against the Reds, if something happens, I don't care about you playing against the Reds. You stand and you hover over that little freaking baby umpire and you
like
yell
a
at him.
with a little cap on.
You yell at him so everyone in the ballpark can hear it. You yell and scream until your blood vessels have popped out of your face. And then maybe something will change.
That would be cool to see Aaron Judge do that. He's not going to. That's not who he is. But Giancarlo Stanton could do that, and that would be scary as shit. Stanton will scare the living shit out of you. Stanton.
It will.
Stanton will, because you as an umpire kind of think that he'll do something maybe because he gets fair. Judge, you're like he's just venting.
He's a gentle
Stanton.
guy.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure. And he looks. I can see the devil in his eyes, staring down upon me. Like I'm sure there's a.
What if they tag team it? What if they both stand over the umpire?
Yeah, well, it's possible.
The reason why I think it needs to be Judge is because there's been more egregious calls on Judge than Stanton, and Judge is the self-proclaimed best player on the team.
I mean, that's fine, but Stanton could absolutely impose his will. You got a little Night of the Roxbury, like where you're just hitting the umpire back and forth. Yeah,
I hate
at some point they have to lose their shit. I would lose my
That's
shit.
what I'm saying. Like Boone, it's not a story when Boone gets tossed anymore. It would be a national story around baseball if Judge or Stanton, like, not just got tossed for arguing, like we're talking major fines here, $200,000 fine because he made such a scene on getting tossed.
A little bump? You want a little bump?
No, I don't want a bump. I'm not talking about.
There's no fine for. Is there a fine for just like being more of a scene?
Every time you
anything?
get thrown out of a game, you get fined.
Well, yes, but I'm saying, is there more of a fine for just being a little extra?
You smash your bat, you cover the plate in dirt.
Okay, I don't want them doing that. I don't want them imposing
You spit down at his feet.
No, I don't need that.
Not in his face. Not in his face, like Roberto Alomar.
I don't need spitting. I don't need any spitting. I don't need any plate covering from Judge.
Or you're chewing seeds and they accidentally fly out and hit him in the face.
That's just pure, like, if you're spitting and there's this like it's just that's part of the situation. That's just. Collateral damage that has nothing to do with intent.
What if, like in a cartoon movie, they take the umpire mask and they pull it back and they let it go and it smacks the umpire in the face?
I would check the elastic on that one. It's probably illegal elastic on the umpire, and that could affect what he's seeing. I don't know. Maybe it's too much flex in the mask and it's going over his eyes.
What if the following inning, All-Star Jose Trevino calls a fastball high in the zone, but he can't get his glove up fast enough?
No, I can't. I could not support that move. I've seen that on viral Little League videos or high school videos. It's a real asshole move. It's a real Bush League dickhead move to do that because it's so obvious. You're not going to catch the fastball up in the zone, really? You're not going to catch the fastball that you called up in the zone, huh? You're just going to leave your glove there. No. I mean, if he tries to frame it and misses it, like if he could pull that one off and it look real and he just misses it because he's trying to frame it so hard, someone I will not name could probably do that, but naturally.
Oh, boy.
Logan, what's up?
So while we're on the topic of Judge, quickly, did you guys hear what he said during his
I saw
interview?
they were
Yes, I did.
briefly
I'm glad you brought that up.
Throwing stuff up. What are you referring to?
Cohen basically asked him about his contract negotiations and how, does he feel good with the decision that he made? And he said, yes, I feel good. And then he he literally said, if we get something done before the end of the year, that would be great. If not,
so they're negotiating,
whatever. But I thought that was telling because he was very big on.
Well, he also mentioned he also dropped in the would love to be here for many more years as well. Like he definitely the way that he was talking, sounded. I don't know if it was an inkling into what's currently happening, or it's like, hey, you hear me? I know you hear me. Let's make sure that we're getting this going during the season because I would love to solidify it and we're wide open to it. And this is where I want to be. So, if that was a message through the media to the brass, it doesn't really sound like that. He also acknowledged that he has a very good and open communicative relationship with the Yankees brass. So there are things happening for sure.
Or could it have been
It sounded very positive, to be honest.
Could it have been a response to Hal Steinbrenner talking to the media like four days ago about Judge's contract? And he said, I'm comfortable with the offer we made him.
No, I don't think it's necessarily a response. I think it was just him. He was a little bit more open and honest. He was a little bit more forthright into what he's thinking. I think that's what I got from him. But I will say this, from the tone and the things that he said, it sounded a lot like that he was very open and optimistic with the New York Yankees, and that was a focus point.
Yeah. All right. It has been a month since we picked the top 5 games of the month. We were supposed to do it maybe last Thursday, but we didn't release an episode, so we're going to do it today. And this segment is brought to you by WynnBET, which is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. They're bringing the excitement of the Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a special offer. You can bet $50 and win $200 using code XBlueWire. Download BetWin. Download the WynnBET app or visit wynnbet.com to start winning. I don't know, do you think you could do that like super fast disclaimer read if you had to? Could you read it like super fast if we
right
had to read
now?
One of those disclaimers?
Probably not right now.
After some practice?
Yeah.
So,
I would have
refresher.
I'd have to get nice and my lips ready to go.
Yeah.
To loosen the lips, do some vocal exercises.
Yeah. A refresher on what we do here. So a month goes by, we list out the top 5 games of the month, and then we pick a winner of that month, and then we see if it was the winner over the previous month. So the first month winner was the Cleveland comeback, also known as the Miles Straw game. That was superseded by the comeback against Toronto when Stanton hit a 3-run home run down the right field line and Judge hit the massive bomb 3-1 walk-off homer. There was also the Donaldson, got plunked in that game. Situation. That was on May 10th. That was the second month winner and so far is the season winner. Let's see if any of these top that one. The first candidate, June 9th at Minnesota. Garrett Cole himself gives up 5 home runs and 7 earned runs, but the offense picks him up to score 10 runs to win 10-7. That was a fun game, not because of what Cole did, but because the offense just picked up a horrendous start by Cole. June 10th versus the Cubs, 13-inning game. Trevino walked it off. The legend of Jose Trevino, the all-star Jose Trevino, walked it off. Quick aside, did you see the clips on ESPN last night of Boone telling the guys that they made the all-star team?
Yeah, Trevino's
Trevino and Nestor.
Heart melted for the man. Love it.
Trevino and Nestor both got like super emotional. It was really cool to watch. Clay Holmes was like, yeah, duh. It's like, all right, bro.
He's like, appreciate it. No, hey, you know what? I want that demeanor from my closer.
Michael King's like, yo, where am I? Because I should be there too.
Yeah, I bet he's an add-on.
Michael King should be in the All-Star game over Garrett Cole, frankly.
Okay, keep going.
Just
keep going.
Logan, what do you think?
Just keep going.
Logan, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm a Garrett Cole stan, so I'm the wrong guy to ask.
It's not.
At least he doesn't have to face Rafael Devers in the All-Star game.
Okay.
June 20th at Tampa, Cole loses the no-hitter in the 8th inning, and Holmes gives up the lead, but the Yankees came back to win that game on Hicks's triple. June 23rd versus Houston, Hicks 3-run bomb ties it in the ninth, and Judge walks it off with a single. And then June 26th versus Houston, Yankees almost no hit for a second day in a row. DJ Stanton got them on the board. DJ tied the game in the eighth. Judge walked it off in the ninth. Best player on the team. What is your winner for the past month, Scott?
My winner is the June 23rd game where Hicks hits the shot, ties the game, and Judge walks it off. I know we had two walk-offs by Judge, but to me, that was a humongous game. That home run by Hicks was massive. And I think it set a tone for what they needed playing Houston. It was I thought it was a massive game, and that's my winner. The only other competition is the other Houston game.
And that's the winner. How is that not the winner? Because, okay, the June 23rd game was great. They come back and they won the first game of the series, but they lost the next two games, including getting no hit, and then they almost got no hit in a second game, and they had to win that June 26th game. Nothing matters about that June 23rd game. The June 26th game, the second walk-off, Judge walking it off after they were getting no hit into the sixth inning is the winner. I don't know how you can make an argument.
Because they were getting no hit until the sixth inning throughout the entire game.
Exactly.
And
that's why. That's why.
That is where I'm looking at the game.
Baby, context.
I'm looking at the game and I'm like, okay, for the most part of that game, I was literally going to erase my memory from what happened beyond
and you didn't
the
have
walk-off. And maybe I did. Maybe I erased my memory past that game that I called. But I think in the moment, not understanding if you look at what happened after, but in that moment, it was a huge, huge, huge game. But yes,
I think I know what Logan is going to pick as the tiebreaker because I talked to him about it before. Logan, what's the tiebreaker?
No, well, hold on. First, the Thursday night game, if you guys remember, the Yankees didn't have a hit from the Stanton home run in the first until Hicks's home run in the ninth. Didn't have a hit. So that
feels different. Feels different. Just to be very clear here, it feels different when there's not that hit on the board.
Now I have a question. Which was more? Do you guys think? Which did you expect less? I guess would be a better way. Hicks's home run, DJ.
1,000% Aaron Hicks. That's the other part of I think what goes into this. If Hicks is he's been very good recently, very good, outstanding. He's been outstanding. This is a player that
he had a good Red Sox series too.
If goes well, changes the dynamic of his team. Like it's just another really really good cog in this lineup. Also creates. If he's hitting, creates a much bigger opportunity for him to play the outfield, which could save our guy Aaron Judge some time on his legs. So Logan, to your point, Aaron Hicks is the one that I did not expect, and I like having my expectations exceeded.
Which one meant more?
Hold on, keep going with Logan.
I agree. I agree. I think that the Sunday did mean more, but. That Aaron Hicks home run was so badass.
It was great. It was the second.
There's not a wrong answer.
It was the second best game of the month. And frankly, you could even make an argument that first Houston comeback is better than any other game in the year. Those are the two best games so far of the year. But the June 26th, the second comeback after being no hit, 1,000% meant way more to this team than that first walk-off. And we would be looking at, I think we would.
Are you saying that it meant that much more as opposed to getting no hit? Because if you're going down that path,
no, I know they weren't going to get no hit because Stanton already hit the home run. But let's say they get no hit on Saturday, which they did, and then they lose. I think it was 3-1. They lose on Sunday, and the only thing that they do is get that Stanton solo home run, and that's it. That is, you got completely emasculated at home by the Houston Astros, and the narrative around this team, the vibe and this fan base over the past 2 weeks would have been way different without that Sunday win.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I think they were both massive games. When you go up against Houston and you win towards the end, they're huge games. So I could see both sides.
Logan, you're just delaying. Like, you have not picked.
No,
yes, he did. No, he already picked. He's trying to be nice to you.
It's June 26th, but it's almost like they played opposite. The way that this series went for the Yankees was kind of the way that this past series with the Red Sox went with the Yankees is the way that the Astros series went for the Astros.
Yeah.
You know, the Astros should have won all 4 games. The Yankees had leads in all 4 games against the Red
Yep.
Sox, so they kind of played reverse roles. But no, it is June 26th just because it meant more. I mean, we were rooting during that game, like, just get a hit. Like, Stanton hit the home run. Everybody was like, all right, good. They're not getting no hit again. Who cares?
Right. And then they
DJ
came back
up
and won.
I mean,
Now, the
DJ's
question
home run
is-
is massive.
The question is, does that beat out the May 6th, May 10th comeback when Judge hit the massive home run against Toronto? And I think it does, specifically because it's the Astros.
I do not, because I specifically didn't pick this one for June.
Fine, Logan.
I
you're
do.
the
I do not because I was at the Aaron Judge
Okay.
walk-off.
Yeah, I guess the May 6th winner is still the one to beat. We will see if next month's winner can top that. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure to submit your mailbag questions, bronxpinstripes.com/podcast, and call the voicemail line 646-480-0342. We'll talk to you guys in a couple days.